Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, that's our little ritual. This is where we are being transparent. And of course, I'm sharing with you because we're about to break the law of silence. Of course, we need light to see what has been hidden in plain sight. We are not only just seeing what's in plain sight, we are digging deep. Okay, so having said that, it's time for a tea break. Of course, while we are doing that, we are breaking the law of silence and whatever else happens. But I am asking that subscribe to the channel if you haven't and hit the notification bell so you would be, of course, one of the first to, of course, delve in this tea time. Oh, wonderful. Oh. If you're new to this channel, this is where we have discovered the 14 gods. This is where, you'll hear things that you had not heard before, because now we are in the season of unearthing and really, bringing to the surface what we need to know to get us onto the next level, the fifth dimension. Okay, so these are the 14 gods that we have. We are the embodiment of these gods and not wanting to keep repeating things. So if you are new to this channel, I do urge that you watch Numerology and Spirituality for Beginners. I will endeavor to put the link in the description box. And so please watch, like, subscribe, and of course, remain ignited. Okay, so we are exploring these 5 gods here. These 5 gods are our, you could say, the master key, because of course key equals 5. But here, these are the gods, you could say, that Christ had to master the art of being the alchemist, in really like saying, yes, I learned, I know how to end this cycle of confusion, of not understanding, because I am informed, I understand the cause of our existence, and now I can breathe, even if I didn't breathe before, and, be planted, whatever it is. But you will see all of those things came very present or prevalent in the story of the sacrifice, where we call it the sacrifice template. So basically, I'm saying that the story of Jesus Christ, it's not only a story of the supposed man that we know as Jesus Christ, or we have believed or been taught to be Jesus Christ. This is our story. This is our existence, our purpose. We find out how we were here, why we are here, because otherwise, if we were not meant to, that question would not be arising from within us and propelling us to seeking answers. And hence it says to us, the Bible, which is within us, ask and ye shall receive, knock and ye shall find. Something like this. Anyway, yeah. So we are going to explore the formed God again, because, and this perhaps is about the 4th video or 3rd video that I'm doing on the formed God, because I'm just feeling that I just go along with it. We have done them in different ways, and this is what the gods are saying. We show up in different ways so you can recognize us. I hope you can recognize me within you. This is what the gods are saying. So I go as I'm divinely guided to do, to show in the gods again. And so hopefully in the season and time, you will see the gods within you or reflecting in your life. So, having said all that, I've been doing a lot, people. There is just so much deliciousness to share with you. So, the more you leave your comments that I know you get what I'm saying, then I can move on to the next level and think, that I know, well, at least what I'm saying is being understood, or if there are questions and so on. So please leave your comments. And of course, remember to like if you like even just a little bit. Okay. So, this this is another area of exploration. We did look at the created God, which is the first God in the fourth God, but we are looking at the ended God, the formed God, the breathed God, the planted God, and the caused God. We'll just jump right into it and just work with the formed God. And so, because the formed God has just been speaking to me more and more, and it almost seems like a never ending, but I also get a breather to look at other areas, and which has been quite delicious. I have been able to get into, now I understand what Jesus said, I am no man but a worm, because the worm really goes down. Of course, you think of the ground, but it's really coming back up, because it's able to come back up with whatever it is that it finds. And so this is what I have been doing, and hence you hear about a bookworm, because we are books. I just want to remind you that the Bible, the codes, the words, that you are that. Okay. And that's what I think it was said to Moses, about the tablets, the commandments. And of course, this is what the children of Israel were struggling to obey, or whatever it is. It's like, take your medicine. That's what it's about, the word. Okay. So the formed God, let's look at the formed God, which equals 7. We won't go, do too much of all this. We'll get to the point today. Okay, so we know that the word 7, which has Mother Eve in it, equals 20, and of course 20 is 2. So we know that when we look at the word 2, TWO, it equals 4. Also, if we were to consider the knot, we would know 20 would actually, as in that form, give us the number 8, which is, and so I just want to show you this, so there is something happening of like the Sabbath. It will give us an understanding about what it was like to rest on the seventh day, and of course there was another creation. So basically we would have 2. We know that 2 gives us 13. It's like this. 2 actually equals 13. Let's just do it this way. And let's have Eve here, because Eve is to even things up. And of course, so we have TWO equals 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. We squeezed it in. Okay. So that's what it was like. But when we do the word 20, because we write like this, we are using the language, and this is how we become the alchemist, understanding the words and how we use them and how we create with them. So TWENTY equals 26. 2 plus 6 is 8. However, just to show you that there is, like, 2 has a seed in it that brings after its kind according to the scriptures, is that the word 8, EIGHT, mirrors number 13. We have done that several times. Mirrors number 13 as in 31. Of course, this is also 4. And so you can see that in 7 itself, you could see how there was another creation. This is all and God rested. Like most people, when they go to rest, especially nighttime, this is when they get naughty, and of course they birth after their kind. This is where things are or the babies are conceived. You would agree, or even nowadays, whatever. But even if it was done daytime, it is still considered, because it's of the sacredness or secrecy of it. It is considered like 8, because of course there were 2. You ate of the fruit. It's all that. It's, 2 knots get together and they create. There's hence the word create, CREATE, has it in it, or they ate, or they rate, and they rate each other. We do, don't we? RATE. And there's always one, of course, in the end. Well, not always, but there's sometimes a rat, or someone, behaves like a rat, or that sort of thing. Okay, let's not spoil it. Let's just rate each other high. Okay. So the formed God has really asked me to say why we should be doing this other exercise about the formed God. We have seen that the formed God is actually presenting us, from what we have just seen, presents us another chance. Don't want my pen drying. Prevents us the opportunity to create. It's with the number 7. Of course, we see, as we have done, for instance, 20, because 7 is 20. We saw what it was like in 2020. There was a lot happening, a lot of severing, and of course we were given again 14 days of quarantine, or 2 weeks, the number 2. So you could see a lot of things were creating, and whether it was done in broad daylight or not, and some, like they say, right underneath your nose, whatever it is, but there are a lot of creation has happened through this 2020, which of course is 8 plus 8. We want to show you how that shows up in the scriptures as well, and why is it significant? Why is it significant? Because we are co-creators with the universe. This is why you will always required to maybe fill in a form. Let's just put, okay, forms, we fill them in. Let's just okay, we fill in forms, or we read a form. You may have to read one to, like, RID as well. You may have to read forms. You fill in forms for a job, for whatever it is that we do. It's always having to fill in a form or read a form. Or there's another thing where you may have to, because you want to be informed, in the sense of that is like you're already tapping into, you have all the words, the letters within you, but what you see is igniting the information within you, and you are being informed, because you have that to be informed. And this is what is important, that so the gods are more or less, the formed God is more or less saying you are a co-creator, reminding us, especially with 6 letters of the alphabet as well. It's like the M is more or less saying we want you to pay attention to your W as well, the M as W, and just to create. Turn the words, the letters upside down. Do whatever it is you have to do, because you are in here for a purpose of me. Whatever, just play, or whatever it is that you need to do, just play along with words when you see them. Be creative. And when you speak, so you understand what you're saying. Okay, so we know this is like 7, it equals 44. So it's being informed. You read, you fill in a form, and whatever else forms are for. And you also say, okay, maybe you want to get in shape. You say, oh, you want to get in form. I'm, getting myself in form, like a shape of, like, whatever it is, so, or someone, you see the form or whatever it is, but however form comes, it is always conveying to us something that requires a goal, or a perimeter, or a shape, or something tangible, or if not, to give us a kind of vision or something for that stimulates our mind with new information. So to be informed is to be to inquire. So a form gives us all of this purpose to ask questions or to reveal answers, and that's why formed is more or less wanting us to pay attention. This is why I feel that the God form, the formed God is asking us to really go over this. It's like going over the form. You filled it in, but the God is saying, I want you to go over this, just as I always often have to go over the form because I left something out. And that's what I am now ready to complete the form. Or you may be asked to sign the form. So I'm hoping I can sign this form and not have to do this one over again. Not in this way anyway, but it still gives me joy. So, and oftentimes, if you're like me, or when you have to fill in a form, well, not so much now anymore, because you have come to understand if I've got to fill in the form, I've got to fill it in. But sometimes we have forms, especially on, declaration forms, or like on Facebook or social media, when you say, so there's such long forms, but with so much, which is giving you all the information that you need about whether you should go private or public or whatever for your data. But the forms are so long, most of us don't take the time to read the form. Read the form, because by reading it, we also read get RID. We also read of confusions and things and complications. So it's really good for us to do that. So be informed. So that's what the formed God is asking us to do. Now, another thing the formed God has brought to my attention, which I feel is very valuable, is that just like I did with the created God comes into the fifth position of the gods, but we are dealing with the last five gods in the second set of creations. They were co-creators with the first set of 9 gods. So we could see how the 9 and 5 becomes 14, just like we are now being co-creators with the universe. Now, if you're new to this channel, you may think, well, what is she talking about? So the number 14, which we are, reflecting the 14 verbatim gods, also reflects the 14 mythical gods, or the 14 of the generation of Jesus, onto Abraham and onto Babylon and unto David and so on, but there were 4 or 14. So the 14 generations of 14, and there is lots more of 14 being reflected. Hence why, as we have seen with the formed God, and 2020 brought about a lot of these number 14s, which will transpire in so many things. You hear the news, you may not pay much attention to the number 14, but it's like I hear it all the time, because now this is why I am informed. So for instance, when I heard a little bit of the news about how someone said they had to fit in so much information for the Super Bowl, meaning the halftime Super Bowl break, whatever it is, how it happens, which I'm not so in tune with, but immediately when he said, I had to fit in so much of those things in 14 minutes. Why 14 minutes? Within 14 minutes, so people, we need to know that the gods are very much alive. Perhaps the person who was speaking had no idea that he's been, orchestrated through the 14 gods, whether positive or negative, but had to fit in all those information or artists to perform in 14 minutes. So this is what. So 14 minutes, of course, again, 14 is like saying it was a fortnight, or speaking of Fortnite, one of the most popular games that I heard, not that I play, but I listen to young people or to people play, is called Fortnite. So there we go. Perhaps it's no wonder, we have all these fortnights happening and so on. So the formed God, of course, equals 7, and we want to show that in the Bible, for instance, when it says the first verse is, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, which is 10 words, and then it says, and the earth was without form and void. So was without form and void, I have to, it comes, that means it becomes the 16th letter or 16th word of the Bible. So the word 16, here we must see how powerful formed is to be informed. That means when you are informed, you can create again and again and again and again, and that is what the God really wants us to see. So SIXTEN, and of course the 16, but it's the 16th, but let's stick to the 16th. And I also want to show 16 as 1. So it means that once there was form, then you can say there is 1. There has to, you could number it, you can point at it, you can make reference, but you can't make reference. The only reference that was made before anything seemed tangible was to say the earth was without form and void. The earth is without form, but it's not to say it wasn't within. So there is a reference. And to also say that it is within, it means it has to have a reference out, but we were not able to make that reference. So here is like 1962555. When we add this together, this is 15, 17, then 23, 33. So 33 is actually 6. And of course, if we did the numerical value for the word 6, which is 6 here, or if we did 33, that would be your 1111. And all of these have potential to show us the endless nature of 16 or 6 as human being, as we were Genesis, because 16 also is like Genesis, GENESIS equals 33. Okay, so we can always do the single as the word 3 and 3 again, which is 11. 3 is 11, another 3 is 11. Of course, you are looking at 11111. So again, you're looking at 7 7, because 1 would give us that 7 7 7 7, which is 2 14s, 2 sets of 14s. So here 16 here is already showing us the magnitude of multiplication that this 16 has the power to do. Of course, because 6, as in 7, the word 7 is 1, because when we do 1, it equals 1. Like now we have a point of reference that also gives us another 16. So it means that 16 can go for on and on and on. And could this be, I believe, people, that in numerical terms, this is really how we as a nation, as a people, continue to multiply and fill the earth. I feel this is the master key for multiplication, and of course you can learn how to use this in numerology for your advantage, but more so for the benefit of all concerned. So this is why it was said to Neil, you are the one. And this is why one person can make such a difference, because one would have known how to have this essence of completion in also with multiplication, because it's that acts like a 7 that can cut away and break of itself. So there's a lot to observe with the formed God, which equals 7, holding its position very tightly. And of course, even in the day of rest, or number 8, which we have explored, we see that 16, of course, multiplies after its kind and gives us the number 1, where it is said, "You are the one." Of course, we've explored that. Number 16 also reflects the 14 gods, as in 7 plus 7, which equals 14, and one hair is really magical. There are also records or books written, for example, by freethinker Kersey Graves, and that claims that there have been 16 crucified savior. So we see the number 16 again, or the word 16 is very prevalent or has great significance. So of course, and if Christ were the 17th, that would mean 1 plus 7 is 8, and that's how we have God ate, or we ate. And so we see the significance of the number 8 and saying that Jesus Christ is the last savior. So that would indicate as well that there is a rest. Okay. It's also important to note that 2 16s are 32, which makes up the exact numerical value of the word Christ, Christ. And that Christ and Jesus together would give us the number 7, which is formed God. So, for instance, you can have, or a 16-year-old can have consensual engagement with their parental consent as well. Parental consent, that means that at 16, you can legally procreate, of course, bearing more of your kind. So there is a lot to explore, as we see 2 8s, a 16, and that takes us right back to Adam and Eve, who ate, because the word ate or eat equals 8, and so we see 2 8s equal to that everlasting sin that we are still dealing with. I hope you will, Ignited Souls, appreciate that numerology really does share some real light on our makeup and, of course, our overall evolution. So in the 16th position of the words of the Bible, we can see how phenomenal that the word formed is, or the God formed is, really showing us His might. And once it's like He said, haven't you guys understood? Because why are you not calling on me? Why are you not tapping into me? Why haven't you understood that you are the one? Why haven't you understood? Because I haven't, felt you being ignited in, my presence is still not being ignited or reverberated as, I expect to be, especially in these times. Don't you understand that, this is the time where I become alive to my most, fortified way. Don't you understand? This is the time and season for the formed God. This is what the formed God is saying. Here am I, like, again, to see the magnitude of 16 or hair, as in that position of words. So we would see, and this is why equals 7, and 1 does equals 1 plus 6 is 7. So you can see that the formed God, being in the position of the 16th letter, does not only actually equal 7, but also reflects that position. So there is the double, and we understand why 7 equals 2, which is 20, but it's 2 right here. And it's more or less saying there are 2 7s in me right here. So it's more or less saying I have the ability to create in pairs. This is what the formed God is saying by having the numerical value of 20, and which of course is 2, because here he's showing us that we tend to look at this as 2, but he's showing us the potential of this as 13, where like Jesus Christ with the 12 disciples, again showing us with 12 the 13, the power of 13 is that there was Jesus with the 12 disciples, and he became the 13th person, or there were 13, and showing us the power of 2 right here. He's saying there is a W here, showing us that there are pairs, everyone and everything is in that O, but it's of W, showing us that there are 2 strokes, one like the T. The T is really 2 strokes like this, and showing us the power of that you are W in the whole world right there. And it's 13. It's the 13 cycles of the moon, 13 for the number of God, 13 and so on, and there are so many 13s. So we won't go too much into this here right now, but I want to show you that 16, of course, as 1 is 1, 6. When we look at 1 again, like we have there, we see is 16, which equals 7, but we also look at 6, SIX, also equals 16, because this is 196, also equals 16, and is 7. This is how we have the 2 sets of gods in creation. 7 plus 7 is 14. We hear a lot about 14, but 1 plus 4 is 5, and this is how you gain your Christ. This is how you gain the key, because here is how the God shows you that the word key equals 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. Just like Eve, which is in the middle of 7, is telling us, because Eve would be in the middle of 7, like this. And Eve is also 14. Of course, 14 is 5. And here, because we are well informed and understanding all the stories, but the most popular for the Christian is the one of Jesus Christ, where Jesus, Jesus, which equals 11. 1 plus 1 is 2, as though it would have formed God. And of course we do the 1 equals 7, and 1 equals 7. Adding these again, 14. And this is how Christ, Christ, which is again 6 letters like we have here, is 5, because it's 32 and it's 5. Or you could say as 5, showing the direct relationship. But this is that 5 plus 2 is 7. That's the formed God. So this is how Christians are able to show you how Jesus Christ is God, but not the formed God. The formed God is actually Jesus Christ. And we can do the same with the created God, which equals 11. But let's stick to the formed God, because that's what the formed God really wants us to be informed to, so you can understand that you are the one. You are the one, and you, of course, are working in perfect unison with the Creator and the universe. So, of course, as I said earlier as well, we hear about 14, and the number 41 is mirroring that which we are. So, United Souls, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you're wondering how we get all into this thing, I am one of 14 and the 15th, and I believe I am ordained to uncover all this lovely secret and all these delicious teas. So remember to subscribe, like, and stay ignited.